चतुष्षष्ट्या तन्त्रैः सकलमतिसन्धाय भुवनं स्थितस्तत्तत्सिद्धिः प्रसवपरतन्त्रैः पशुपतिः पुनस्त्वन्निर्बन्धात् अखिलपुरुषार्थैकघटना स्वतन्त्रं ते तन्त्रं क्षितितलमवातीतरदिदम्. 31st. See, the interesting thing, Saundarya Lahari, is although it is in a certain sequence, it is in a particular structure, we can pick up any shloka and dwell upon it. Any shloka from anywhere we can pick up and we can dwell upon it, and there is reasonable independent standing. Because a lot of other works you will see is that you may have to either bring a few verses together to get the complete meaning. In fact, even Bhagavad Gita, you see, there are some verses that continue. To get the full meaning, you'll have to kind of go through multiple verses to get the combined meaning of what is being said. But verses like these or shlokas like, because that is a conversation. Okay. Shlokas like these are, each one is an inspiration. Each shloka is an inspiration. It may have some connection, it may have, one may flow into the other, it may make a reference to the other in a way. But otherwise, it can be referred to or contemplated upon or discussed in isolation also. Okay. So 31, when you're looking at, we saw 30. In fact, the first 40 or 41 are called as Saundarya Lahari. So number 30 clear, we have gone through or we have touched upon 30 verses. Another 11 more we do, we will kind of complete the Saundarya Lahari part of Saundarya Lahari. And Saundarya Lahari is the one that is supposed to be directly received from Shiva Shakti. Adi Shankara received it directly. The remaining 59, it is said that Adi Shankara lost it on the way. The story is there, whichever there is a fight with Nandi and all of that. The 59, he was then asked to compose by Shiva and Parvati. So he said, don't worry, you go and compose it. So the remaining 59 is said to be his composition. So the first 41 holds a lot of mantra, tantra value, and many hidden syllables and mantra syllables are there. And it is considered to be revealed text. So if you want to break Saundarya Lahari into two, one is revealed, the other is composed. Saundarya Lahari is, if you want to look at it that way, one Saundarya Lahari can be seen as Shruti, the remaining 59 can be seen as Smriti. So 31 is now his, the shloka or the verse is about how Devi or the aspect of Shakti is important to attain or achieve to Shiva. In fact, if you recall, we have seen verses like this even before, where there is the expression of Ardhanarishwara, the description of Ardhanarishwara. The same idea, you approach Devi, the moment you attain to Devi, attain to Shakti, then you attain to Shiva. This is the Shakti Marga. If you look at Saiva Siddhanta or the Shiva Marga or the Marga of 9 Mars and all that, that will be directly to Shiva. Right? You're approaching Shiva directly. That is one form of faith. This is one form of faith. where this is a Shakti Marga, which you use certain tools, certain ways. You use the world as a tool to attain to Shiva. In the Shaiva Marga, you almost disengage from the world, you falsify the world, and you say what exists is only Shiva. Correct? What exists is only Shiva or Paratattva or Parabrahman. This is falsified in the process. Na iti, neti, neti, neti. So you say, this is not true, this is not true, this is not true. All of this is illusion, this is my Maya, this is not the way it really is. What I'm perceiving is, what I'm perceiving is not the truth. So you keep falsifying and you say that which is Parabrahman, the consciousness, supreme consciousness, that is the truth, and I try to attain to that truth. This is almost saying that that is Shiva, Sadashiva, and I'm approaching Sadashiva, falsifying everything else. But in the Shakti Marga, you don't falsify, you acknowledge the world, you acknowledge everything that is here, you use it as a tool to attain to Shiva. Hari Om Chandra Mama. Namaskar. You use this as a tool. Why was this formed is also because there are different people who approach everything differently. Some people are emotional. Some people are deterministic. Some people are able to take austere practices, resolves. Some people are more devotion based. So it is very different, right? Each one of us is very different. Even in your household, you will see two children will be very different. Even between husband and wife, you will see these differences. The wife is more devotional, but the husband is more jnana based. He's trying to look for more jnanam and knowledge and understanding. But the wife is more devotion, bhakti, emotion related. And there are many such ways, right? So this is a way in which you approach. So what this shloka or verse is trying to present is the idea that for one to achieve to Shiva, how Devi herself is telling Shiva that I will bring you those devotees, I will filter them, I will help you do the screening process. Because if you look at Shiva, Shiva is not wanting to be bothered. He's sitting in a cremation ground saying, don't bother me. Because he knows dead people will not bother anybody. Only the living people will bother. Even in an ashram, you'll see the guru will be never left all by himself. Shishyas will chumma edavadhu oru doubt. Annikku neenga onnu sonnele appdinu ayyo naane maranduttenpa. That is it is difficult for gurus to be in the ashram and have disciples in the ashram. Very difficult. And that way slowly they will create a layer. Most ashrams you'll see, they will create a certain layer of people to manage this access. They'll introduce access control. Because the problem is they will, this typical human tendency to ask questions after questions after questions, thinking that the next answer that is going to come is going to solve everything. Right? So the access, now what Shakti is saying is I will help you process. I will do the screening for you. I'll make sure I'll bring you what do you call as the creme de la creme, which means I'll bring you the real spiritual aspirants. Right? and then you deal with them. Right? Till that time, you sit in silence. மூடிட்டு உட்காருங்க, மத்ததெல்லாம் நான் பாத்துக்கிறேன். I'll take up care of everything.
பாரதி பரமேஸ்வரன் ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கிறது
அங்கே. So you sit quietly. I will take care of everything. So I'll keep you as this. Even in offices, corporate, you will see, you always need a manager to escalate to. Escalation. And you don't bring in that manager all the time. He may be the manager, he may be the CEO, he may be whatever. There'll be a certain level above who you keep. You may be doing everything, but you'll hold on that as a point of escalation so that you use that whenever you require. So what he is saying here is Chatushashtya Tantraihi. Chatushashti Tantra. Excuse me. So there are 64 Tantras in the Agama Shastra. So Agama Shastra is a Shastra where a lot of rituals, temple building, idols, what are the rituals to be done around it? All of these tantras are described in the different 64 tantras. And these 64 tantras were actually revealed to Devi Parvati by Shiva. So the whole Agama Shastra, the understanding is that the Agama Shastra is something that Shiva reveals to Parvati. And you'll notice this, a lot of texts are like that. Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, there is a text called Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Then many stories in Shiva Purana are such that Shiva is, so Parvati is coming and sitting beside Shiva and asking him a question. And through that question, Shiva is explaining and giving her the knowledge. So that knowledge is coming in the form of Tantra. Shastras or Tantras. Right? So, Chatushashtya Tantraihi Sakalam Atisandhaya Bhuvanam. So you have given all the 64 Tantras to the world. Sthitastat Siddhihi Prasava Paratantraif Pashupatihi. So you have now conferred all the 64 Tantras to the world, but you have deceived them. He's saying you have deceived them by giving only 64. There is one more Tantra, which is the 65th Tantra, which is my Tantra. Punaha, Twan Nirbandhat, by you insisting to Shiva, O Shiva, please teach the 65th Tantra, Akhila Purusharthaika Ghatana, Swatantram Te Tantram. That Tantra, which Tantra? That Tantra which is independent of the 64. Independent of the 64, there is a 65th Tantra, which is about me. Please reveal that to the world. So that Tantra, in a way, is called a Sri Vidya Tantra. The Sri Vidya Tantra is this Tantra which is outside of all of this, because these 64 Tantras give various benefits and results. Various siddhis. Tat siddhihi. It gives different kinds of siddhi. But the 65th Tantra gives everything. Sri Vidya Tantra, Sri Vidya Upasana or the Sri Vidya Jnana gives Purusharthaika Ghatana. Or Purushartha. Purushartha is the Kama, Dharma, Artha, Moksha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The 4 Purusharthas, all the 4 Purusharthas are, I can receive or one gets through Sri Vidya Tantra by following the Sri Vidya Upasana Marga. So this is what Adi Shankara is telling here. He's telling you have given all of this to your disciple, to your devotees, to the world, but you have missed giving this. But give this, which means you give it. How will she give? How will Shiva give? By means of telling me, oh Shiva, you explain to me my tantra. It's not that Devi is wanting to listen. It is a way of saying that by giving to me, the world will get to know. யாரோ 2 பேர் இருப்பாளே காது வச்சுட்டு இப்படி. There'll be at least few people who want to overhear what Shiva and Parvati are talking. My father is telling, right, he wanted this hearing aid. He had trouble with hearing. He had cotton in his ear. Then the doctor removed it. But before that, he was saying, and he's always curious about what my mother is saying. So my mother will be talking something in the kitchen. Amma என்னமோ பேசுறா, எனக்கு என்ன பேசுறான்னு புரியல. So he'll be very curious to know what Amma is talking to who and what. And he'll put a lot of strain in trying to hear. He'll not be able to listen. So now I got him a hearing aid. He is able to hear very clearly. Now often he is removing the hearing aid. எனக்கு கேட்க வேண்டாம்.
My father used to have a hearing problem, and I used to tell him, now மெதுவா பேசும்போது you are able to hear it என்னப்பா இது கேட்கும். நம்ம கேட்காது. Selective hearing. Selective hearing, correct. That my mother will tell. He is able to hear, is only deciding what he wants to hear. So that way, when Shiva is giving this knowledge to Parvati, Parvati is certain that somebody will overhear, and then it will get, this knowledge will be given on to the rest of humanity. There is a story, yeah, and Shiva Parvati and then immortality பத்தி சொல்லும்போது there's a dove. I do not know whether it was some rishi or somebody overheard it அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அது ஒரு ஸ்டோரி இருக்கு அந்த மாதிரி. Between Shiva and Parvati, when Shiva is telling Parvati. இருக்கு, I mean, yeah. அது வந்து இந்த என்ன கோயில் அது, அமர்நாத் கோயில். அது வந்து they used to say that. You're right. Correct. I vaguely recall. They say that the dove is immortal because it hears the conversation between. I'm not sure if it was a dove or a parrot. Parrot, correct. One of the two. Because it knew the secrets between Shiva. Correct. And the symbolism there is that, maybe we can look up that story, Mama. It will be interesting. Next session we can discuss. So the symbolism there is, this knowledge is always given in privacy. Even between a guru and a shishya, this knowledge is always given in privacy. See, there is always something called as sabha nyayam. When in a group or in a sabha or in a large gathering, when there is some knowledge that is given, there is samana jnanam, samanya jnanam. Then in isolation or in privacy, the guru gives us vishesha jnana. So that can be completely in contradiction with what was given as samanya jnana. It can be in contradiction also. Because what is samanyam is general, because it has to adhere to the moral standards. It has to adhere to, you're considering different age groups, you're different people of different faiths, gender. All of that has to be considered when there is samanya jnanam given. But vishesha jnanam is always given in privacy. So this symbolism of Shiva giving this to Parvati is also that this knowledge has to always be received or discussed in privacy or in certain level of intimacy. In Vishnu Sahasranam also, towards the end it comes, right? Parvatya uvacha kenopayena laghuna Vishnur nama sahasrakam pathyter panditer nityam shrotamichamiham prabho. Ishvaro vacha Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varaname. So Parvati is asking Shiva, which is by
by chanting which do I get the full palan of chanting the Vishnu Sahasranama? Then he says this nama, Shri Rama Rama Ramiti. So in many places this thing is there. So here he is saying, now the 64 tantras have been given out, but Devi is saying that you need to now, for serious sadhakas, you need to reveal the 65th also, which is the Srividya Tantra, the Srividya Jnanam. And then by this, slowly the devotees will be able to attain to you. How? They attain to me, and by virtue of attaining to me, they attain to you. Because Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhutum. Shiva Shaktyaikya Rupini Lalita Ambika. Lalita Sahasranam, the last line. Shiva Shaktyaikya Rupini. Shiva Shakti Aikya Rupini. So she is one, she or he or it is the amalgamation or the merger of Shiva and Shakti together. So when you attain to Shakti, so which is why I was saying, through these tantras, through Sri Vidya Upasana, through all of this, you use the world as a tool, as a device. Which is why you will notice in Shakti Upasana, there is a lot of rituals that are there. There are rituals. Navavarna Puja. It's a very elaborate puja they do. Navavarna Puja for all the 9 chakras of the Sri Chakra. So these are all ways in which you use the material that's available. Turmeric, kungumam, water, chandan, incense sticks, thupam, deepam, all that is available, food, grains, cooked food, uncooked food, raw food. All of this you use, the tools that are available. Then you use your body parts. You do Anganyasam, Karanyasam, you use your body parts to invoke the various devatas into different parts of your body. So you make your body an instrument. And then you energize. And then through that process, we try to get closer to the Shakti Tattva, which is Aikya with Shiva Tattva. So, this Swatantram Te Tantram, this is the Tantram, which is the independent Tantra, which is the Sri Vidya Tantra, that please reveal to them now here to the world. This is what Adi Shankara is, or rather, Ambal is telling Shiva, the husband, Pashupatihi, to do. And this is how Adi Shankara is portraying this whole picture. The whole scene is portrayed. Shiva and Parvati together sitting. They are discussing. And Parvati is telling Shiva, now finally, now you've given everything that you can for attainment of various things in the world. Now give this also, Sri Vidya Upasana, through which the devotees can attain all the 4 Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. They can attain all that, including Moksha, which is liberation, which means they come, liberation means they come dissolve into me, means they dissolve into you. They achieve Sadashiva. So this is verse number 31. Okay, so these are all the, so Shiva, 64, correct. By giving the various tantras, you are also conferring various psychic powers. But due to your insistence, O mother, you insisted to Shiva, reveal your own tantra, which is capable of conferring Purushartha, which includes Moksha. Okay, that is this verse 31. Okay. Now this is a very interesting verse. I'll pause here and we will chant and we'll come back to this. Just a minute. शिव शक्ति कामः क्षितिरथ रवि शीत किरणः स्मरोऽहं सशक्रः तदनु च परामारहरयः अमीहृल्लेखाभिः तिसृभिरवसानेषु घटिताः भजन्ते वर्णास्ते तव जननि नामावयवताम्. So this one is a very this particular verse or shloka requires diksha in a way, okay, because this is what is called as the Pancha Dasakshari mantra of Devi. Sorry? Pancha Dasakshari.
Pancha
Dasa Akshari.
Oh, Pancha
Dasa Akshari mantra. Pancha Dasakshari are the 15 letters. Pancha Dasa Akshari. But what Adi Shankara has done is he's embedded that mantra into this verse in an interesting way. It is like how it is said that you don't say the Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra is not just chanted out like that. It is only received as Upadesha and then individually you chant. But whenever you're making a reference to Gayatri mantra, you don't say the mantra the way it is. You only make a reference to it. So in the same way, this also Adi Shankara has tried to use certain synonyms or representation words to present what are the mantras that are hidden in that. And it generally, when the teacher teaches it, it comes through that, right? But then the actual, and this mantra, Panchadasakshari mantra, is a mantra that usually comes through Diksha. And it usually comes through the Sri Vidya Parampara in a certain process. Usually, you are not generally given this directly unless the guru, the Sri Vidya guru believes that it can be given directly to this individual, right? Because there are many, and Sri Vidya Upasana is usually a very structured Upasana. It goes step by step. At each step, you have to do a mandala, you have to do puja, you have to do all of that, and you go. And Pancha Dasakshari is Lalita Tripura Sundari's mantra. It has 15 bija aksharas. It has ka, e, I, la, ha, sa, ka, la, sa, ka, la, and then hrim. Hrim is attached to each of the. So there are 3 groups. First group, ka, e, I, la, then hasakala and sakala. In 3 groups, at the end of each group, hrim, bijakshara, is attached. So each one is a bijakshara. Ka is a bijakshara, a is a bijakshara, I is a bijakshara, and so on and so forth. So this Panchadasakshari is what is referred to as in this particular shloka. This is the mantra swarupa of Lalita Tripura Sundari. Mantra swarupa. In Lalita Sahasranama, it comes Srimad Vagbhava Kuteika, Madhya Kuteika, Shakti Kuteika. So these are the 3. Vagbhava Kuta, Srimad Vagbhava Kuteika, Bhagadharini. I don't remember the shloka in Lalita Sahasranama. So these three groups, first group is called Vagbhava Kuta. If you map that or connect that, it is Devi's face till the neck, Vagbhava Kuta. From the neck up until the waist, it is the Madhya Kuta. Then the waist, under the waist, it's called Shakti Kuta. So these three groups are these three mantras. So the mantra or the sounds or the bijaksharas that refer to the face area is the first line. This one you see here. Shiva Shakti Kamaha. Shiva Shakti Kamaha Kshitihi. Till here. Shiva Shakti Kamaha Kshitihi. This is the first group. Then next group is Ravi Shita Kirana Smara Hamsa. Smara Hamsaha. This is the second group. Ravi Shita Kirana Smara Hamsaha. Then the next group is Smara Hamsa Shakraha. Okay. And then the last group is Paramara Harayaha. This is the third group. Paramara Harayaha. And he's giving these words here. Shiva Shakti Kamaha Kshitihi Atha Ravi Shita Kiranaha Smara Hamsaha Shakraha. Second group. Then Tadanu Cha. After that, Paramara Harayaha. This is the third group. And how does he represent these? The sounds associated are, as I said, Ka, E, I, La. So Shiva is Ka. Shakti is A. Kama is E. Then Kshitihi or earth is La. Then Ravihi is Surya, which is Ha. Then Shita Kiranaha is cool, the moon is Sa. Then Smara is again another name for Kamadeva, that is Ka. Then Hamsaha is La. And then next one is Para Mara Harayaha. Sa Ka La. So you see here Manmatha is actually referred to by three names: Kama, Smara, Mara. Okay. But these are also, what he's done is essentially he's hidden that Bijakshara by making some reference to a deity, a name. Okay. And then he says, Ami Hrillekabhi Tisribhi. At the end of each of these groups, you put Hrillekha. Hrillekha is Hrim. Avasaneshu Ghatita. At the end, you connect them. And with this, we worship you, O Mother, as these are your names. Okay. So, this is called Panchadasakshari. Panchadasakshari is, in fact, those who are familiar with Lalita Trishati. Lalita Trishati is expansion of Panchadasakshari. So that is also, in a way, Panchadasakshari is expanded into 300 namas. They've taken each syllable and then there are 20 namas against each syllable. Right? And then you get Trishati, 300 namas, 15 into 20, 300. Now these represent the mantric form of Devi. So there is a yantra form, which is the Shri Yantra. There is a Tantra form, which is the way you do rituals, the puja, the Navavarna puja, the Samayachara puja, or the Kularnava puja, whatever the different rituals and the actions that you do, that is the Tantra. And this is the mantra. And this mantra, what it means is, through this mantra, one can attain to Devi, which is what was what was spoken about in the previous shloka. In the previous shloka, he talks about Swatantram te tantram Kshititalamavati radidam. So he says, this is the 65th of the 64th. This is the 65th science or yantra, 65th tantra rather, through which you can attain to Devi. And how is this practiced? Obviously, this has to be offered through a diksha. One has to learn it through diksha. But now, because we get access to these mantras, it is okay to listen to it. So the best way to access this mantra is to listen to Lalita Trishati. If we want to associate ourselves to this Panchadasakshari, there are a lot of chants of Lalita Trishati that is available. The best way is to listen to that, and over time, when it's appropriate, a Sri Vidya teacher will be able to give a diksha on these mantras, these bijaksharas. And this particular form of the Panchadasakshari, there are different forms of Panchadasakshari. This particular form of Panchadasakshari was given to Agastya. There is a Lopa Mudra Vidya. Agastya's wife is called Lopa Mudra. She received a different kind of Panchadasakshari from Devi. Agastya received this kind of Panchadasakshari, the one that Adi Shankara is making a reference to. It is also called as the Kamadeva form of Panchadasakshari. That is why Kamadeva's name is appearing in many places, 3 places here. Each of the line is Kamadeva mentioned, because Kamadeva is one of the teachers of Sri Vidya. Kamadeva, or that we refer to as the husband of Rati, he is one of the teachers of Sri Vidya Marga. There are 11 teachers of Sri Vidya Marga. 12. There are 12 teachers. Kamadeva is one. And this Manmatha, this is called as Manmatha Kala. Manmatha is also Kamadeva's name. So this particular form of Sri Vidya is called as Kadi Vidya, because it starts with Ka. Ka Adi Vidya. This is called as Kadi Vidya. Vidya means the science or the knowledge. Now, one way of visualizing this mantra is one can write it and look at it and visualize Devi's form in 3 parts. The Vagbhava Kuta, which is the face, the head till the neck. The second is visualize the form from the neck below till the waist. The third group of Bijaksharas from the waist under till the feet. So this way we visualize Devi in the Saguna form, which is the Devi that is, whichever Devi that we feel like, Rajarajeshwari, Bhuvaneshwari, Kamakshi, whichever form, you visualize her and then visualize this 3 parts and visualize these mantras in those parts, and we listen to Trishati. This is something that can be commonly done. In fact, Trishati also is to be given through Diksha usually. But now, because it's available, Trishati as a chant is available. T.S. Ranganathan Potelna, you would have chanted Lalita Trishati. And there are many people who have chanted Lalita Trishati on the YouTube. And it is okay to listen to it. We can listen to it. It is very beautiful because it is one of the very effective ways of getting into one, the Sri Vidya Upasana. The second thing is it gives you direct access to seeing Shakti as a process in this world. See, whether we like it or not, energy or Shakti or whatever is the one that is operating in everything and everyone. Right? It is the vibration that is there in everything. Starting from the smallest, in fact, starting from inert objects all the way to the galaxies, to the stars, to the universes, and also human beings and worms, everything. It is this particular energy that is vibrating, and it is the energy that is making this whole creative process in place. Mantras like these, bijaksharas like these, give you access to perceiving this particular energy. Now, of course, one can go, depending on how much time you spend with these mantras and all that, one gets access to different subtler forms of this energy. But for us, as spiritual sadhakas, our focus is moksha. Our focus is the fourth purushartha, right? Dharma, artha, kama, they're good, they are required to operate in this world, but moksha is what you are seeking. Moksha is the ultimate that we are seeking, which means liberation from this, and because from liberation from this conditioning that we are in, this limited conditioning that we are existing in, and we think we are this limited conditioning. The release from this, from within ourselves, nobody from outside will come and help. This release has to happen from within ourselves. This release will come through this process. This process can enable. Why? Because this is Lalita Tripura Sundari's Bijaksharas. Panchadasakshari is Lalita Tripura Sundari's mantra form. And who is Lalita Tripura Sundari? She is this world. She is the samsara. Tripura. The Mu Ulagam Cholmola, all the three, be it the three worlds, which means the Bhuloka, Bhorloka, Swarloka, or my waking state, my dream state, my deep sleep state, whatever I perceive as samsara is Lalita Tripura Sundari. She is the one who is the creatrix, the matrix, which means she is the one. If you imagine this whole world as a cloth, a piece of cloth, she is the fabric that is encompassing everything here. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Ishavasyam, that Isha is Lalita Tripura Sundari. She is existing in all of this creation. And what Adi Shankara or Agastya or the Manmatha, they are giving us access through this Panchadasakshari. They are giving us access to that fabric of existence. Once this mantra is what? Mantra is sound. And once you resonate with a certain sound, and if the sound represents something, see, today if I call you Pramod, if I call Pramod, takkana you will look back because you have associated with that sound. But this is only psychological sound. Tomorrow, if you change your name and repeatedly I call you something else and your name changes, then you will stop responding to Pramod. You'll respond to something else, the new name that you've got. After, if I reformulate or recalibrate a new name. But these sounds are existential sounds. These sounds are sounds that are existing in nature in a certain frequency or vibration, and the rishis have been able to tap into it. And they've been able to tap it, and they're able to sequence it and understand that this particular sequence, I'm able to access this fabric, what we call as Parashakti, what we call it as Lalita Tripura Sundari. Why is it important to approach that and understand that? Once you understand the fabric of the universe, see, once you know that the cloth that is there in front of you is nothing but thread woven very closely together. Once you know it, once you know that this is what it is, nobody can ever fool you after that, right? Saying that it's a single thing or it's a single object. No, you know that no, it is thread that have been brought together, sewn together, so closely knit together, so that it just appears as a single piece. You use it. There is utility value of the world, like there is utility value of the cloth, but you're not fooled by the thought that it's a single thing. It is not. It's made up in a certain way. So if you know this world is made up with the energy of Shakti or Parashakti Devi, and it's operating through everything, and if you are able to connect or resonate with that, then wherever you go in the world, you are in resonance with that. Whether you go to the galaxy, the neighboring galaxy, or you go to the moon or Saturn or wherever, you're resonating with the same fundamental principle, which is Tripura Sundari. Whatever name we give, it's just funny names they have given, but the point is that you are resonating with that fundamental principle of this universe, which we call as Brahman in Vedanta. But here they're giving an access path. Recognizing Brahman through Vedanta, you do Vedanta Vichara. You think, you process, use your intelligence, you use your mind. You do that and you access it. Through the Shakti Marga or Sri Vidya Upasana, you use methods like this, tools like this to access that fabric, the fabric of consciousness. That is the fundamental principle that is existing. So when you get that, then it's the same as Brahman. It is the same as Shiva. Because for us, once you have recognized that it is the same principle, conscious principle operating everywhere in everything here right now, then where is God? Here right now. Where is Brahman? Here right now. Where is he? Here right now. That is all it is. So this particular shloka or verse, Adi Shankara is presenting the Panchadasakshari, using which these sounds in a certain way, it allows us to resonate or approach Shakti or Devi, and through that we resonate with the fundamental conscious principle that is there in creation. Right? So these are very beautiful ways of meditating, not just purely meditating. These are also, because these sounds have very powerful existential impact, it can also raise your consciousness. See, what happens is when you chant these sounds, these sounds are heard and listened and it resonates within us, or it vibrates within us, we resonate with these sounds in the universe. It's same like Om. When you chant Om, what happens? Consciousness rises. It is found that when you take a very disturbed mind and you play Om and hold them for a little while, the mind naturally comes to a little calm. there is a definite improvement in the agitation of the mind. So these sounds have such impact. So this particular shloka is about that. Shiva Shakti Kamaha Kshitiratha Pravishita Kiranaha Smaroham Sachakraha Tadanucha Paramara Haraya Ami Hrullekhabhi Tisribhiravasaneshu Ghatita Bhajante Varnaste Tava Janani Namava Yavatam. Oh mother, this is your name and this is your form, and it will help me go beyond name and form. Nama Rupa Atita Gunatita. Okay, we'll close with that. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyirva Buddhyatmana va Prakate Svabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikayeti Samarpayami Satgurunatayeti Samarpayami Hari Om Tat Sadguru Namaha.